Shifting over and putting ourselves in the shoes of the service desk agent that's currently troubleshooting a ticket relating to a web-based application. Like I mentioned before, with 1E, we provide that real-time connection to not only gather information, but also push out configuration changes in real time. So when we want to enable those network logging capabilities, we can run that command remotely. And just as an example, we can start that Chrome executable, enable the network logging capabilities, and then specify a file path that we want to save it to locally on the device. Here I just use a text file format. You can use different formats as necessary, but this will push out that configuration change to start to enable the network logging on any device that you choose. And we can choose to target all the devices in our fleet or a specific group, all the way down to a singular device or group of devices associated with the user. Quite a few options for us here. But I'm going to target the demo device that I'm working with today, and I'm going to perform this action. Now, before I can make any change on a device though, we want to make sure we're following strict change management controls. We have a security feature here where any changes to a device require a secondary approver. Whenever we're querying information or just gathering data, this is not required. But since I am making a change on the device to enable the network logging, I have the capability here within my demo lab to self-approve, but this would go to another person to review the instruction. What are we actually doing against the device? Who is actually impacted? And I can go ahead and approve this and send it off. So as soon as I do that, that is going to send that script to execute on the device. Within a few seconds here, we get the response that it ran successfully. And I'll switch over to the employee's device just so you can see what's happening behind the scenes for the sake of the demonstration. So now shifting over to the employee's device, all of this happens in the background, but what that script did was programmatically enable the network logging within Chrome, the same thing as the service desk person manually remoting into the machine, clicking into the network tab, preserving the logs, and then finding a place to save it, download it, and move on. That process is very time consuming to the service desk that we work with, 15 to 30 minutes on average. And just the time to do that does not include the time that it takes to schedule a quick 30-minute session to hop on a call with the user. So we can shortcut all of that. And here, as I start to populate some data in our network logs, all of that will start to get captured and we can retrieve it remotely in just a second. So just typing in ADP for the sake of example, if there's any errors with this web-based application, all of this would get captured here, and we can start to look in the back end when we saved it to our temp folder. Here's that log file location that we can go and pull remotely back in the 1E UI. So this is what it looks like on the machine's interface. The user would not see any of this. They would just start to use their application as normal. That network logging was enabled in the background, and we're collecting those errors as necessary. So jumping back into the service desk perspective, they would then be able to remotely query these files at any point in time so we can actually download it and send it off to the vendor, ADP in this case. So all I have to do, in the same fashion as before, type in that I want to retrieve the file regardless of the path. This is the file name that we specified, and we're going to go target it against the device we were working with before. So as soon as I ask that question, same fashion, real time, we're going to go out to the endpoint, collect that information, and then being bandwidth sensitive, slowly send that data over so we can quickly start to interpolate the data and do some investigation based on what we find in the log files. So here, within a few seconds, we get that log file information. I'll let it populate just a second so we can see all the contents of the file as well. And we can start to download this, share this to our vendors, and really shortcut the way that we traditionally would solve these problems. I can do all of this within 2 minutes, and we can move on to the next ticket and potentially troubleshoot other users that may have the same errors within the log files. So download that. Here's my text file, save locally on my device, and I can send this off to our vendor. Ultimately here, that real-time connection to the endpoint, being able to ask questions, investigate on the device, and also make the changes in real time is the power that the 1E platform provides to the service desk and the EUC teams within an organization.